that's enough of that stuff going on there. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the studio this evening where I am going to paint these beautiful daffodils right over there. Let's see what we got going on. Let's say hello, everybody who came in a little bit early. Natalie's here. Liza is here. Thank you for joining me and helping to make my Wednesday evening so enjoyable. A few housekeeping things to get out of the way. The paper that I've been using for a while now is my Fabriano Studio watercolor paper. Same as before, 9 by 12 size. My paints over here on the right hand side are my M-gram paints, the same paints I've been using for a while. Let me see, I think I put those down here in the corner. Boop, down there you can see those colors that I have on my palette. Scroll by there. Sudika is here. Hello. Images by Gretchen is here. Welcome, Gretchen. Good to see you. Let's see. I think I'm just gonna jump in, and as we get into it, I'll probably stop and say a little bit more. Okay. I feel like I'm stuttering a little bit. I don't know why. Let's see. I've got a little bit of yellow, orangish yellow on my palette here already. I'm going to grab that and I'm going to mix into it this Hansa Yellow that I already have. It's a cold yellow. If you look at these daffodils, they're a pretty cold color. And I'm going to just get this a little bit soupy. And I'm going to I'll start over here. And I'm going to put this color on just as a first layer. I'm not going to differentiate between the different petals. I'm not going to differentiate between the, I don't know, whatever you call the cup in the middle. I just want to get a layer of paint on here first of all. Oh, I guess I should say, as has been my practice for a while now, I'm using my King Art brushes here. I like these brushes. They're very nice. And I got them, I've told the story many times, I kind of got them on a sale without knowing much about them quite a while ago, and I've been using them pretty regularly for about 2.5 years now. And I really like them. They've held up quite well. The brushes that I'm using are the 90-20 series. They are I guess they're just a golden tackle-on. They're a synthetic brush, and they work quite well for me. Let's see. Gretchen, if this is your first time here, I want to invite you to ask any questions that you have. The regulars that are here will get into a discussion about anything and everything. We talk about everything from, I don't know, paper and pigments to paints and brushes and lots of things that aren't anything to do with paint or painting also. If you have any questions about anything related to art or artwork, throw the questions out there. I'll take a crack at answering any or all of the questions, and then everybody else who's watching can take a crack at answering the questions also. Lots of times they all have better answers than I do. Pantyhose. Right. The answer is pantyhose. The question is, what do you look through to make things look impressionistic? And you stretch some pantyhose out over a wire hanger, and it kind of blurs your view a little bit. I was told. No, that's gonna be that's gonna be ongoing here for quite a while, I think. So I hope everybody's having a good week this week so far. I'm having a good time. You all don't know it. Well, there, I got three of these flowers already painted with a first layer of paint. Look at that. You all don't know it. I celebrated a birthday last Friday. Had a nice time. Had a nice time not doing a whole lot on my birthday, which was really nice. Yeah, Gretchen, Vaseline on your glasses works well too, but then you get Vaseline all over your glasses. I think you're right. I think it would work fantastically, but it would require quite a bit of cleanup. Susie's here. She says daffodils. Finally, daffodils. And I should say, I'll just throw it out there now. Happy birthday. Thank you. Gretchen, if you don't know, if this is your first time here, that I post on my Discord channel a challenge at the beginning of every month, and everybody has an opportunity to, how old? I'm quite old. I'm getting quite old. Everybody has an opportunity to paint the challenge for the month, and then you can, if you want to, you can post it onto the Discord channel and let everybody else see it. We can talk about it there. If you don't want to, that's fine too. And then the last Wednesday of the month, I take on the challenge myself and try to do my best in painting whatever that challenge is. So if you want to join in and have some fun with everybody else and take on take on a challenge, you're older than me. All right, I'm not old. I just feel old. I'm firmly in my mid-50s right now, and I only feel like I'm in my late 50s. So, so there you go. Let's see, Sherry's here. Hello, Sherry. I saw somebody said hello to Sherry. Good to see you again. It looks like we have a really good group here again tonight. I'm kind of mixing up greens. I'm just mixing greens. I hope you guys can see this. It looks like there's a reflection on here. Let me know if you can't see what these colors are all that well. I'm kind of waiting for these flowers to dry. Eliza, you're old. No, you're not old. Old is like a pharaoh old, right? It's like a mummy is old. All of us, we're approaching old-ishness. Natalie, you're leaving your 50s behind this year. It's going to be clearly in your rearview mirror. It's funny as we grow up and age. I can easily think back to a time when I never thought I was ever going to make it to 50. I went, oh my God, 50 is so far out there. And then I'm blessed in my family with some pretty good genes, right? A lot of members of my family have lived long lives. And as I stop to think about it, I'm like, I'm just past halfway. If history is anything to be believed, I'm just kind of halfway. And that's something that not too many years ago I would never really have believed. But I'm hoping we're all going to be celebrating many more birthdays. Dana's here. Hello, Dana. Wait a minute, Sherry, you turned 71 yesterday. Wow. Happy birthday. You've got an April birthday. So let me ask you this. This is going to be a fun topic. I hope it's going to be a fun topic. I have quite a few family members that have a birthday right around mine. Right? I'll give you an example. My wife's birthday is actually the same day as mine. Not the same year. My mother-in-law's birthday is 2 days after mine. My stepfather's birthday is a week before mine. Seems like our whole family was born in April. Does anybody else have? Gretchen, your son is 45. You know what I mean. Does anybody else have any groups in their family or friends, or whatnot, that all have birthdays clustered so close together? I think my wife's grandmother, I don't know what that makes her to me. Grandmother-in-law. I thought maybe that's it. Grandmother. I don't know. I think her birthday was the middle of April too. That would be okay, Sherry, you're saying that would be September for your family. So you get lots of presents to buy in December and April. Yeah. Our family does that in June. Natalie, wow, that's funny. My daughter was born on my dad's birthday. All right, so it's not just my family. That's actually good to know. It's fun to think about how many things are like that. It's weird dates and how they came about and why and whatnot. Just some fun things to think about. See, I'm just putting some color on these leaves here. We're going to go back over these. These will be darkened, and there's going to be green in the background here and whatnot. I'm more or less getting some green on there to outline where they are, and maybe waste some time before I've got to come up and do the petals up here a little bit. Waste some time. That's a terrible way to say that, Michael. Fill some time. Oh, look. Fill some time. I think he was a guy I went to school with. Fill some time. It's a nice spring green. All three generations were born on the same day. Susie, okay, yes, my mother-in-law was born on her mother's birthday, and her grandmother was born on her birthday too. Wow. Wow, that's even better than my family. That's cool. All three generations on the same day. That's cool. Eliza, you're saying this is a nice spring green. This is my favorite green. I should have said this while I did. This is a bit of phthalo green in here with a mix of Gamboge, which is going to kind of mellow this out, and also Azo Green. I'm sorry, Hansa Yellow. So Phthalo Green, Hansa Yellow, a little bit of Gamboge yellow. If you just put that Phthalo Green and Hansa Yellow together, it really makes a bright green. And I wanted to tone it down a little bit from that, but it's a great first layer because anywhere I want to drop a shadow in here now, I can do it and leave, this highlight or this lighter area as the highlight. Okay. Whew. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there. Let's see. My sister-in-law, a niece, and my son-in-law all share the same birthday in August. Wow. Has anybody ever thought about this before? I always think about it, and I'm like, this is the strangest. We could be born in 365 days, and we're all born a week apart, and 10 days apart. It's pretty interesting. I get mine to myself, except for my grandnephew, who was born on the 15th, and my grandniece, who was born yesterday. Two newborns within the last 2 days, or 10 days. I'm sorry. Wow. Tracy's here. Hello, Tracy. Okay, I think these are plenty dry enough. So what I'm going to do, everybody knows, everybody's tried to paint yellow, and yellow's tough to paint with, right? So I looked for it. I actually did a test sheet, and I can't find it now, but I did a couple of different things to try to see how I could, darken up my yellow a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep with this basic color, which is Hansa Yellow. It's a cold yellow. You look at those flowers, they're not really a warm yellow. They're, maybe a neutral yellow. They're not freezing cold yellow, but they're not a super warm yellow. And I'm going to mix into it a warmer color in these shadow areas. And so I don't have to go over. I'm going to start on this side. And I'm going to do it inside this cup. And then I'm going to pull it down. And this should, I don't need to really make this a lot stronger of a color. Right? Not a whole lot more saturation than the first layer. But just having that second layer on there is going to help out a lot. And all of a sudden, look what happens. I want to get a bit lighter as we get to the side over here, which is a bit hard for me because my table's tilted. And all of a sudden, we've got, a darker area on there. And I bet if I darken this up back here and pull this forward, that this is automatically going to take a nice dimensional shape for us. Right? I don't think there's going to be too much to do with this. I think that's a good start. All right, let's get a little bit. That might have been a little too much of that Gamboge. Let's get a little extra color in there. You can start to see some of the method to my madness here. I think you can. Okay, I can't touch in here. That's dried up. ZC is here. Welcome. Good to see you again. So let me ask, because I know Natalie has done it and Sherry has done it, and they look fantastic. How many people attempted this challenge? I'm just curious. And did you like this one? I thought there was an easier way out of this one, and there's a way to kind of accept the challenge. Let's see, Natalie, you mixed a touch of purple into your yellow for the shadows. It worked great. You know what I was going to do? That's so funny that you said that. I mean, it's not funny. It's right on point is actually what it is. But what I did was I mixed in just a bit of neutral tint into that yellow when I was doing like the petals here. I did all my big gradients, the big shadows, the area, or the highlights, the lowlights, and then I went back and did yellow with a little neutral tint to do all of the shadowing on there, the finer lines and everything, and I thought it turned out really well. And the neutral tint that M. Graham has does have a purple bias. So I like where you're thinking. I like where you're going with it. I think I explained that very badly. What I'm trying to say is great minds think alike, because I was going to do the same thing or something similar. How's that? Susie, you enjoyed painting yours a few times. Gretchen, you're doing it now. You're painting along with me. Gretchen, I bet yours is going to be better than mine. And I'm going to claim that I have a handicap of speaking while I'm painting. Yeah, Natalie's saying you're talented to be able to multitask. And that's true. It's hard sometimes. It's hard. Let's see. Get some color in there. I'm just trying to add a little bit of dimensionality into these at the moment. Thank you for the tip. Whoa! Liza, what tip did I give? I don't know what tip I gave. About the purple? Adding a little purple? Well, shoot, that wasn't me. Thank Natalie for that. I'd have forgotten all about it. But it's right? If you want to dull something down, an easy way to add a bit of shadow, right? Two things is to add just a dash of the complement color onto it, and it often results some really fantastic results out of it. No, it won't. I'm a nature wildlife photographer who plays along with watercolors when I'm cross-eyed from editing. Well, good. You know, I do this when I get cross-eyed from my normal day job. Sit in front of a computer all day, and this is a nice reprise from doing that all day. So I'm with you. Look, ooh, okay. So look, oh, this one's especially, I don't know if you can see, whoop. Look at how that one turns out. By the time we get a third layer on here, this one's going to look really nice, right? Look, it looks good. Looks good. This one needs to have a little bit more color down the side. We'll get that on the next go around. But already I think these are starting out really nicely. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on. Let me get something to drink here. Hold on real quick. I should say I got a drink out of my container here before the show started, and I spilled it all down the front of me. I went, oh boy, if this is how this is going to go, I'm in deep trouble. Okay, let's take a look here. And this is probably where I'm going to deviate a little bit from that picture. Right, these are looking down a little bit, but some of these petals are, open. They're out, right? And I'm expecting, or I'm going to pretend as though, let me turn this around. Like this whole one down here will be a little bit darker. These will be a little bit darker, but these ones up here are going to get a lot more light. And so we can shade these a little bit differently. I'm looking at this one in particular, and I know it's very hard to see over there, but the top half of this petal is darker than the bottom half, which means the whole thing is like tipped over this way. I want to do it the opposite way and turn it over this way. So like it's opened up like this, right? A little bit darker on this side and definitely darker down towards the base down here. And I'm hoping that a couple of these like that are really going to help to, make this look really nice. I'm going to start with this particular one that we're talking about right here. And of course, darker as we go towards the center, and then I'm going to let it come out, pull out, and maybe I'll just put even actually some straight Hansa Yellow on there, really cold, out towards the edge. And what I want to do is, maybe I'll even get a little bit of this orange in there. Just drop a little bit of that orange right in there. This is... the orange I have on my palette is Azo Orange. It's a bright orange, and I can tell you what I need to do is I need to take a little bit more of this off. I think that's going to be good. So you can kind of see. Wow, yellow is so hard. Yellow. Yeah. It's going to get there. I'm going to do the same thing with this one up here, right? Some brighter yellow up here. I'm going to drop that on. And then this mix of yellows down here. This is why I think this was such a good challenge. At least for me. I hope you all can see what I'm doing. I hope I'm not too far out of the way here. Is that yellows are difficult to work with, and I like to work with, I like to be able to work in some different colors here, and yellows don't always lend it to working really well like that, but I think with a little luck and a little ingenuity here, we can get this to look just about right. Let me pull a little color out of that one. There we go. Look at how that one looks. I think that one looks pretty good. I'm going to do one in the middle here because I know this one, when I drew it, I drew a bit more. I drew it to be a bit more what I'm calling upside down. Right? This petal is definitely facing straight down. Right? Except for this little bit on the end. That little bit on the end that kind of curls right over. Ah, it's so hard to see. That's okay. That's okay. Let's get some bright yellow here, away on the edge. Then our mix of color right back through here. Now, actually, I'm trying to do two things. I'm trying to paint these individually, and I should say I spend quite a bit of my time when I paint nowadays trying not to paint things individually. I try to paint larger shapes. But this painting lends itself to painting these petals individually, and so I'm going to do that, and it's going to turn out fantastic. There we go. Got a little highlight on that one. Shoot, let's jump over to this one over here. Right? And my hope by painting these individually is that they develop their own little tide line in here. And as they develop their own little tide line, then I don't have to worry so much about making them look individual. They're going to do that on their own. That's my hope. If we can accomplish any of that going forward, then I think we're ahead of the game. Like that. Look at that one. Right? Oh, it looks good. So there's no real definition on these petals yet. Right? You've all seen daffodils. If you look really closely over there, if you go on in Discord and look at that image, right, you can see the striations on there, on each of these, that are going to give that petal strength to stand straight out. I'm not really worried about painting any of that on here yet. We'll get to that in the next layer. This layer, I'm just trying to get some color on here. Just trying to get the areas where it's in light a little lighter, and the areas where it's in a little bit more darkness a little darker. Liza, Michael, do you ever paint with different brushes such as daggers, filberts, and etc.? I do. I do. I don't. I So when I am out plein air painting, and I'll show you what I painted outdoors this weekend. Very soon, I have it right over here. I have quite a few mop brushes, quill brushes, in that kit, and I paint quite a bit with those. I very much like those. I do from time to time when I'm in here and I feel like being experimental, I'll grab a different brush and use it. But I'll be honest with you, when I sit down here, especially for a painting like this one on Wednesday night, I really want to feel as comfortable as possible because so much can go wrong so quickly. I hate to say that, but it's true. That I want to use the brushes that I'm most comfortable with. And right now, for me, that's these King Art brushes. But yes, I do use other brushes. I love all my other brushes. I need to find a way to use some of the different ones. I was thinking about buying some new brushes, actually. I was thinking, I've used these for quite a long time. And could I get away with some different ones? I will say I have only one filbert. So I don't have a lot of experience with a filbert brush. Natalie, you say you mostly use rounds too. I bet most people mostly just use rounds, just because they work, right? You can do almost everything that you want to with a round brush, and if you have one like this, it's pretty springy, right? It holds its point really well. If you get into this one, right? This holds a point, but this one's not too bad. I have some of these quill mop brushes. I like them very much, but they're all squirrel hair and their points just bend right away, and so sometimes if you're not doing a big wash or something, you might not want that. But I do. I love all the different brushes. I've got right Chinese calligraphy brushes that I've used. I don't know. I've got flat brushes. Is that a filbert? Nope, that's a flat. I don't know. I've got lots of brushes. Good question. I do use a number of different brushes, but for the purpose of, like I said, of this, I probably am going to stay with something I'm a little more comfortable with. Unless we're doing a stream where the ask is to use a brush that you wouldn't normally use. Paint something with a brush you wouldn't normally use. I paint too small ones and break out too. I'm a true King Art advocate, and they have a nice dagger. Oh, okay, ZC. You're a King Art advocate. I've talked about how much I like these brushes. What do you like about your King Art brushes? Let's get a second unbiased opinion about some King Art brushes. If you don't mind, if you don't want to say anything, that's fine too. I don't mean to put you on the spot. And neither of us are being paid by King Art, so so I don't necessarily blame you. King Art, if you're listening. But I do. These, I've said it before, I've had problems with some synthetic brushes curling. They're tip curling. They go a little flat sometimes. They just don't hold the water quite like I think they always ought to. And I honestly, I don't know why I decided to buy these, but I did. And I found out that I liked them quite a bit, and I've kind of stuck with them. And they've continued to perform what I think is very well. And the other thing that I'm noticing tonight is that my yellow is getting away from me a little bit. Look, this is so bright already. I didn't want it to get quite that strong quite this quickly. That's okay. That's okay. We'll work with it. And I guess, ZC, the other question is, what series of King Art brushes do you have? Let's see. Michael, try that 1 week. Paint with a brush you aren't familiar with. Paint with one I'm not familiar with. Let's see, the beautiful rounds with their awesome points, and they don't hook on the tips. That's true. I use water brushes for plein air share. That's interesting. Okay, so ZC, you have the same ones I have, the 90-20s. And Susie wants to know what you paint with the dagger brush. Let's see. I nature journal, so I'm trying to build my skills using water brush. Oh, Siddique is nature journaling, which is fantastic. Liza wants to see me not be able to do something well. Oh, that's okay. I'll take the challenge. But you do realize that if I take the challenge of painting something I wouldn't normally paint with 1 week, I will be practicing. I will cheat. I'm just going to tell you. All right. We're getting through these. And as of, look, I forgot some green up here. Oh, man. That's okay. The color's a little brighter, a little more intense than I wanted for these. I didn't mean to be this bold with my colors or have quite this much saturation of color. But that's okay. You know, these ones, these are daffodils from Pennsylvania. They're growing somewhere near 3 Mile Island. And they're having a little issue. They're exceptionally bright this time of year. No, they... look, this is one of the times when you do your painting and you just accept that what's going to be on the paper isn't exactly like was in your head when you set about this to begin with. And you take a deep breath and you go, okay, that's okay. We can deal with it. Not going to sweat it. It's not going to hold me back. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make this a bit oranger back here. And I'm going to pull that color out. And along the side here. My daffodils might end up looking a little strange. I'm okay with that. I actually like that. Back there. It's like a happy accident, right? Let's get a little extra of this color back on this one back here now. Right, this one's going to be... I just don't want that orange to get too... I got a hair on there. I don't want that orange to get too bright back there. A little bit. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. Now I can pull this one way out. Blend this way out. However I need to do that to give this the shape that I want, and as long as I keep it wet, I can continue to work that. As long as it stays a little bit damp. That's what I should have done over here, is pulled a couple of these lines like that. Ooh, actually that looks nice in there. Getting darker than you wanted to is one of the issues with yellow. That's why this is such a sneaky good challenge, right? Because everybody paints with yellow. We all paint with yellow. Yellow, it's one of the primary colors, right? And yellow is probably the trickiest primary color to paint with. And unless you're painting a lemon or something, we don't use it straight. We mix it with something else. And that's okay, right? It's just that it's one of those, it's strange that we have trouble with yellows because of that, right? And so we all need to figure it out just a little bit more. Okay, I like that. I'm liking that. Okay, so now I'm gonna go up here a little bit. Give me a little dab in this neutral tint. I don't want to go back into my color. There, and let's darken this just a touch inside here. This has not got any direct light on it, so it's got to be a little cooler. Should be a little cooler. It doesn't have to be. I'm gonna actually go a bit more with this. Oh, I'm gonna try to be really brave. Moderately brave. I'm going to try to be moderately brave. How about that? Put some more yellow, or put some more neutral tint in here. That's going to be my new motto. It's time to be moderately brave. That's funny. Okay, cool. Actually, that actually helped quite a bit. Look at that. Let's see. Liza, that sounds very cheerful. My living room is yellow and we'll never change it. Good. My family room used to be yellow. And then it got painted over. But it was yellow for 10 years. It was great. Yellow is a wonderful color. I don't want to bash yellow. But it is a difficult color from time to time. I like yellow too. I just find it tricky to use. Which it is. There. Oh, look. Ooh, that really makes it stand out. Look at that. That's nice. Let's give it a little bit of that over here too. And this is a good time I can really set that edge however I want to with these colors. And depending upon how far I pull this grayish color down is really going to determine, I should say, how far it looks like this is bent over. Right? We just put a little bit of this mixture of neutral tint and yellow in here, then the cup is just a little bit bent over. But if you put more in there, it's facing down a bit more. It looks terrific. Thank you. Champagne Sparkle by Glidden is the best yellow ever. Wow. I don't even know what that would look like, but I'm totally willing to take your word for it. And Sherry, you spent the day drawing eagles, and we'll be doing some beaks and eyes in yellow. If you spent the day doing eagles, I want to come and spend the day with you. Drawing, I would love to spend the day drawing some eagles. That sounds like a lovely day. And you can just go ahead and pencil me in as being jealous right now. Oh, I said that when I was done with these, I was going to show you my plein air painting from over the weekend. So let me do that. Most of you know that I kind of live near this, really large lake. Some people call it the Pacific Ocean. And I'm not always the best about getting out and painting those things in and around where I live. I do talk about it quite a bit, and from time to time in my past I have tried. Thanks to Natalie, I am getting out and doing it more and more now. And so when the weather's warm on a Saturday, Sunday morning, whatever, I'm going to go out. I've got a kit in the back of my car. I'm going to go out and you got yours. I've got to try neutral tint with yellow. What pigments are in your neutral tint? I'll tell you. The pigments in my neutral tint. Whoop. So this is the M-Gram neutral tint. It is PV19, right? Pigment Violet 19 and PG7, Pigment Green 7. Violet 19 and Green 7. And that's, you can see, just as it comes out, right? That's Paynes Gray next to it. You can see it's a much warmer, more purplier color in there. It's not purple by any stretch, but it's purplier. Sadika, you like to paint what you see, and there's lots of eagles here, and the ravens are magnificent. Oh, the ravens. Yay. They sit on my garage right up here and yell at me. So here is what I painted this weekend. Actually, you can see, anybody who goes to my Instagram page will see this, and you'll see the photo that I took while I was sitting in the same spot as I did this. Trying to figure out boats, trying to figure out water, trying to figure out reflections. But this was a fun time. It was a little overcast, like 60 degrees or something. It was a lovely day just to sit out and to try to paint a few boats. And I managed to get a couple of dark reflections in here. I maybe should have pulled out a little color in here and there. I don't know. I did notice after I got done, I didn't put the reflection of any of the masts on here, which was a little bit of a mistake, but that's okay. So that was how I spent a couple of hours of my Sunday, I think it was. I don't know, something like that. It was fun. It's quite a bit of fun. Okay. Let's see what we're going to do. So we've got our flowers up here. They're drying. The reflections are good. Nice boats. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I usually use purple for yellow flowers. Okay. Yeah, purple totally work fine. Let's see. Let's just take a quick look. I like doing this. I'm going to take some yellow. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to take the colors that we were using, which is a little warmer, and I'm going to put it next to it. Right. Let's just pull this down a little further. Okay. And then let's let this sit, and then we're going to put a layer of purple on it and a layer of neutral tint on it, and let's just take a look. I'm kind of curious myself to see what it's going to look like. But while we're waiting for that to dry, let's grab some greens here. I've got this Cobalt Green that's leaked when I closed this. I'm going to use some of that to try and get it out of my way. And let's mix that with a little bit of this cold yellow. This, what's the yellow? Hansa Yellow. I almost said Naphtha Yellow. And I have a few areas in here that I want to make a little darker. I'll make this whole area up here. Little area here. Let's make this area a bit darker. I think that's all I can do at the moment, and I'm going to have to blend this out a little bit. I'm going to do this because these daffodil leaves, fronds, I'm not sure what these are. Not fronds. They always seem like they twist a little bit, and they have some darker spots and they have some lighter spots, and that's what I'm trying to represent as I do this, with a little lighter and a little darker. I just heard a chicken over here. It sounds like my chickens are being put away. Lot to do. Let's do one here. How did I use all my green already? All right. Over here. Let's see, the flowers look like they are dying if you're not careful. Look, wait a minute. My flowers look like they're... These flowers? Really? They might. I hope not. ZC, this has to be... Liza, you're saying green is your nemesis. Green has been your nemesis for a long time. Oh, I think you guys were saying if you're not careful about using too much purple, then they're going to look like they're going to start dying. Is that what you're saying? I hope you're not saying mine look like they're dying. See, I'm going to give a little color here. I want to get this like wavy pattern in here. All right, I'm going to make some blue up here. This is cerulean. I'm going to mix in with a little bit of this cobalt green. It's going to make a very cold green. I'm going to use that for... Ooh, that might be too cold. Whew. I'm going to use that for some of these that are way in the back here. We're going to have kind of a myriad of different colors going on. Go, and we're going to come up here. We're going to give a little bit of color here too. pull that down a little bit. How's our color doing up here? Still drying a little bit. Give a little bit of this color over here. We were saying if you don't have the right shade, it can look like that. Yeah. That's true, it can. Thank you for clearing that up. And not telling me mine look like they're dying. Which might be true. I hope it's not true, but it could be true. I'm just gonna, drop in some greens here. It's starting to, I gotta move this little one out of the way. It's starting to give this area down here a little life. Sherry, you think you need a lot of patience for yellow. You definitely need a lot of patience for yellow. You definitely need a lot of patience. Let's see, I'm going to put in some color right like this. I'm not sure. I'm doing this, right? I'm just going to be upfront with everybody. I'm doing this. I'm putting all these colors in here like this. And I'll be totally honest with you. I'm not exactly sure how this is all going to work out here. And that's okay. Right? My flowers up here already didn't turn out the way I thought they were going to turn out. And that's fine too. So the fact that what I'm doing up here now is could be kind of a little hit and miss. I'm okay with it, but they're starting to come along a little bit. I think they're looking good. Daffodils are moving aside for the tulips in Western Washington. Ooh, I do like the tulips. Tulips are fun. Yeah, I will say that almost all the daffodils here are gone. And it makes me sad a little bit. But that's okay. Because that means we can move into the next season, right? Daffodils are definitely a springtime flower. And when they're gone, we get to move into something else. So while it's a little sad, it's okay. Because we get to go right on to the next season there. All right, okay. All right, what do you think? I think these are much better. This is kind of how I had hoped this was going to go. Right? It looks like, as I look at this and as I'm thinking about it, it looks like there's like some dappled light coming through here or something, right? Or I just wanted to use the word dappled. But some broken light coming through here. And I think it gives quite a bit of interest to what we're doing here. Right, quite a bit more interest than if we just painted some of it green and some of it a little different color green and called it good. We're mixing up all these greens. We're leaving a lot of, lighter areas. We've got a few darker areas. I just realized when I said, "Well, we're mixing greens." Well, that is what we're doing. Wasn't exactly how I meant to say that. Natalie, your daughter was trying to explain to her 2.5-year-old son why they don't have daffodils and tulips in Arizona like they do in Colorado. And what was the answer? That's the real interest there. ZC, you love all the different colors of greens in the leaves. Yeah, it gives it so much more interest. And Sherry, you say they're looking fantastic. Thank you. Peonies and lilacs and lilies are coming in next. Yeah. I was gonna say, I think I have some lilies here that are coming in. They're just starting to come in. Yeah. That's exciting. Lilies are cool. Let's see. Let's give this guy a little bit of color right in here and down here. I don't even know what kind of lilies we have here at my house. That's terrible. They were in the ground when we moved in, and I haven't done anything with them, and they just keep coming up. When they bloom, they look great. Ours are going to bloom this year. They don't always, and that's because we, so often, what was I looking to do here? So often, we don't have enough water for them to bloom. They grow a little bit, and then they kind of get stunted, and then that's about it for us. But this year, we have plenty of water, and so we are going to have a bumper crop, and it's going to be fantastic. That it doesn't get cold enough during the winter. Oh, I was expecting some other crazy story. Okay, maybe I was just projecting how I would answer for my kids. I would have made up some crazy cockamamie story for them to try to follow, and then probably what they would have done is gone and told their friends, and their friends would go, "What are you talking about?" Okay, all right. So I'm about to the point where I want to step back from these greens down here in the bottom. Right? I'm about to that point, and maybe start to do a little bit more on our petals up here. I like how this looks. Oh, I think it's got some interest to it, right? There's definitely something going on here. That looks so good. In the Skagit Valley of Washington, the Tulip Festival is almost over. Wow. Then comes irises. Actually just starting to bloom. Wow. Oh, I remember. Oh, you know what? Look, I got it. Oh, hold on. I forgot to paint that little bit. There, and then we got a couple of petals here that really don't have anything on them. That just won't do. That will not do at all. So we're going to have to do a little bit before we move on to anything else. I think we owe it to these little guys to get some color on them, right? I think so. There we go. 1 and 2. Take a little bit of that excess moisture off of there. And look at this other one. Shoo. What do we color? Come on, give me some colors in here. All right, and we got this little guy back here. I need to make sure. I don't want him to get too lost in there. Let's give him a little bit of dark over there. I love when I put paint on, like I just did, a little bit thicker, and then you come back with just that little bit of water and the color just explodes out. That's so cool. Oh, there. All right. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to come back in and put some lines on these. And I said that, just like with these, what I did on my paper previously was a little bit of neutral tint in with that color. There we go. Not too much. Neutral tint can be overpowering. And then we draw some lines on here, and this is where this is where we have to be brave. This is where we really have to be brave. Let's see. I'm gonna go like right here, couple. Actually, that might be, if you don't like it, you can still kind of, you can tap it and smudge it just a tiny little bit. We're going to get a couple in there really well, a couple from both sides. Oh no. I think this one looks better. I think this one looks better than that. Oh, you can't even see. Okay, you're going to see in just a second. Zoop, there you go. Couple of little lines on there. Let me get a little bit more of this mixed up. Trying to watch the color. Let's see. I'm so glad you fixed that, Michael. I have been trying to figure out what was going on. Where you just fixed, in my leaf here where there was nothing, where it was a blank spot. Yeah. Let's see. This is going to go. This is also where you can do quite a lot to define the shape of these petals too. Jump, Liza. Wait, jump. Are we listening to Van Halen? What's jump? Am I missing something? I don't. Or do you want me to get up and jump around? I don't know what's going on. Couple lines here and there will really help set these up. The line works great. I'm gonna hold off in determining how it works until we're a little further along. I guess there are a couple of bigger spots here, little thicker areas. Should put some on that have a little wider path in there, right? Some of them they're not all one thickness of line. Some of them have some little thinner areas, and some have quite a bit thicker areas. I don't think I can do that one quite yet. And I think I need to, whoa! That's one where I need to mess that with my finger just a little bit. A couple lines here and there. This is when I do this, I worry about it looking so, what I call staccato, right? I don't know if that's the right word or not. Look, I got some lines on. Let me move my microphone. Ooh, I hope you can see some of those. Got some nice little shadow lines on a few of these. I'm going to change that color just ever so slightly. You do it. So these are all, the one thing I don't like here all of a sudden is that they're all the same color. I don't want them to be all the same color. I'm going to put some on that are slightly, I'm just going to go over this with some that are slightly different. Just going to warm a couple of them up just a bit. All I did was I took the same mixture and I put a little bit of that Gamboge in there instead of the Hansa Yellow. Just lighten it up ever so slightly. Oh, now you can see it even better. Look. Okay, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. I like it. Actually, I really like this one here. I need to do this even a bit more. This needs to be even a bit dark, more darker. Why don't I just use I don't know what this is called. That's that little brown. That's that little brown bit that they break out of. Sherry, you might hop and skip a jump is out of the question. You bartended back to that song back in the day. Come on, that's one of the great rock songs. It's a great rock album. I've tried to get my kids to listen to Van Halen all the time. It doesn't really work, but let's see, Michael, the one you just worked on needs a tad of accentuation on the side. I should have looked up sooner. I'm not sure which one I just worked on. There's probably a lot of them that need some help. Sherry, you could say you are not going to jump. I should say I don't do a whole lot of jumping anymore either, but it is pretty funny. I actually really like these. I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to figure out what to do down here. So my thought was I can do a really light wash and just put a whitewash of green down here, and I think it'll be okay. But I think what's going to happen is I'm going to put a wash of green, really light green down here, and then I'm going to have to go back in and redo some of these colors. And I guess that's not the worst thing in the world, is it? All right. And here I'm fulfilling a requirement from Liza. I'm going to use a different brush. No, not really. See, like guests in the ER bill. You guys. Yeah. I think what I ought to do first, I'm kind of cleaning my brush. I've got this big mop brush here. I think what I need to do is just put a coat of water on first, just plain water. So I've got up there on my table, I've got some just 3 water jugs. So let's see if I do this real fast. I don't want to lift any of the paint that's there off. Okay. I think that'll work. And then we can get some of our green here and dab it in, and probably if we get some different colors in there, it might have some additional interest. It might not. It really might not. I might be screwing everything up right now. Oh, see, now that's drained in there. I don't want that. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to go over a couple of things here. That's okay. That's okay. We'll do that. Probably should have started with this. Oh, you guys can't hardly even see that. Probably should have started by doing this. But we're going to finish it by doing this. There we go. That's going to dry, and then we'll just give a quick go over. I could always try to do some little bit of grass around the stems. I could have, and no, I didn't. But you know what did happen is that I made this all wet right now. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. I made this all wet right now, and I have to wait for this to dry, so you all have to spend a little extra time with me. Now, who said, let's see, my sister went through an AC/DC phase. That's cool. Yeah, no, they're okay. Let's see, I totally banned Metallica. That's okay. I get that too. I like Metallica, but they can be a bit much. Let's see, I've got some towels here, and they're totally wet. I'm going to set those off to dry. I'm going to move some new ones over here. Natalie, you like meatloaf? Didn't Meatloaf just pass away? I think he just passed away, didn't he? You can always try adding grass around there. Sure, you're killing me. Tracy, now you say Tracy, great idea. After I've already done this, of adding some sprigs around there. But no, this is going to be good. This will all look good. Actually, it doesn't look bad now. But we'll go over it with a little bit of color, and it'll bring that grass right forward. Okay, we get some Gretchen, you say, woohoo, you started with that wash, which is where I should have gone, and now it's working for you. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, okay, good. The violet experiment. Okay, cool. Let's do that while we're waiting. All right, so here's our 2, and on my palette, Meatloaf, I'm pretty sure Meatloaf passed away. Okay, so on my palette, I've got Cobalt Violet here. Let's see what Cobalt Violet looks like. Let's not get this too thick, though. Cobalt Violet is a pretty tame color. Let's do this. So there's a little bit of Cobalt Violet, and here's neutral tint. And we can see the difference on yellow. Actually, if you look at, we should do this too. All right, this is Cobalt Violet up here. And this is neutral tint down here. And then let's see what it looks like on this. I just pull this out a little bit. And then a little bit of this neutral tint. See what it looks like. And you know what? It's not, it's a little different, but it's not all that different, is it? It's a little bit warmer, but it's not all that different. If you take off the top, whoop, the very, how do I do this? Something straight. I can't do it so you can see it. If you look at the blended part, I think it's not going to be much of a difference at all. Let's try this. This will be fun. Can you tell the difference between where one starts and one ends? How about that? They're pretty close. Honestly, you thought a little past years ago. I think it was last year. Let's move this one up. Let's take this purple one up. Look at they're not that different. The two of these. You see the gradient there. They're pretty close. It's a little warmer. The purple is a little warmer than the other one, but not too far off. That's still wet. Let's take a little bit like this. I'm mixing a little bit of yellow in a little bit of this purple. All right, this is yellow and purple. And now let's clean this spot right here. Neutral tint and yellow. A little stronger. But all in all, not that different, right? So you can see there's a lot of purple tendencies in that neutral tint. Anyway, it's kind of a neat little experiment to try. I like that. But yeah, that one, not, once it's mixed, it's not too different. This one's the purple. That one's in the neutral tint. Patty is here. Hello, Patty. Welcome. Welcome. I'm just fixing a big mistake that I made earlier by painting things out of order. Which is fine. Let's see how this is going to go. ZC, now you're leaning towards neutral tint. You're coming around to my way of thinking now. I actually should say, I was a little dubious about neutral tint when I first started using it. I saw it on what's his name? Tim Wilmot. Tim Wilmot is a British watercolor artist, impressionist watercolor artist. He's got some fantastic things out there. So he's got a channel on YouTube, and he's a big proponent of neutral tint. And I watched it and I went, yeah, that's interesting. I've never tried neutral tint. Maybe I should give it a shot and see how it's going to go. And once I started with it, I kind of fell in love with it. Same thing with Sepia too. Uh-oh, who's leaving? Gretchen is leaving? Gotta run. Oh, Gretchen. Okay. Thank you for joining us. I hope you can come back next week or any other Wednesday. I'm here every Wednesday. A lot of the same people are here. We all just try to get together and have some fun and do a little watercolor painting. I kind of lead it, but I only lead the painting. Somebody else, usually Liza and Natalie, drive the discussion, which is totally fine. We always have fun, so thanks for joining. I really hope you can come back again, and thank you for joining this time. Have a wonderful evening. Let's see, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, so once I started using that neutral tint, I was kind of hooked. I didn't think I would like it as much as I do. I use it quite a bit. Have I tried Moon Glow? I have tried Moon Glow by Daniel Smith. I have some on a different palette. Moon Glow is nice. It's much more granular. Not that there's anything wrong with granular colors, but it's a much more granular pigment. And I would pull out Moon Glow if I had something specific to use it on. Who asked the question? Patty? Was that Patty? I will be honest with you. I just like my M-Gram paints that much more than a lot of other brands of paint, and so I don't always, if I'm just painting at my studio here, I always default to using this palette and these colors. I've been using these same colors for about a decade now, and I like the palette that I've created here. It works for me. It won't necessarily work for everybody, but it works for me. But I do actually, when I use my Daniel Smith paints, a lot of times is when I have florals to do. I didn't bring them out for this one, so I don't have a whole lot of yellows in that set. But typically, if I have paint florals or something softer, I'll bring out those Daniel Smith paints. But if I'm painting, I don't know, a cheeseburger or a rusted out old car or a fence or something like that, I will typically just stick with the colors that I'm pretty used to. All right, so we're building these back up a little bit. Yeah, Sherry, you love M-Gram paints too. They're wonderful paints. If people don't use them, it's hard to describe. They are wonderfully smooth. They wet easily. They retain their color wonderfully. They don't fade. They're pretty light fast. They don't, when you're painting watercolors, you can expect that the color is going to lighten by somewhere between 30 and 50% as it dries on your page. Doesn't necessarily seem to happen quite at that rate with M-Gram paints as it does with others. I don't know. I love my M-Gram paints. They're wonderful. If I do need something that creates a little bit more texture or is required that I have some more granularity, then yeah, I would totally consider jumping into something else. But I like these paints. They're wonderful. Okay. All right. Let me get a little bit of this down here and a little bit over here. I think we've just about gotten our... Whoops, let me get a little bit here too. I think we've just about gotten our color back in these to bring these right back into the front. Actually, that looks really nice. I like the way that turned out. Well, let me... Yeah, look at this one. Look at how long this one is. This one needs some help in here somewhere. Not a lot of color on that. I'm about to fix that right now. Let's see. What does fugitive really mean? Isn't sunlight its only nemesis? Yeah, so fugitive means that as it has a lot to do with light fastness. Not that it necessarily gets lighter or it loses its color in sunlight, but that it could change its properties in sunlight. So if you have a green, let's say it like this. You're using a green that is made with a fugitive yellow, right? Then the yellow will change, it'll go away, and the green will change to more of a blue, or you've got a blue and it changes to kind of a green. That's more of what fugitive is. More so than its light fastness. Right? So I've got a watercolor painting in my house, and I've had it there for about 14 years, and even though we got some low E glass for the frame, the sky started out blue and now it's a green color because the blue is fugitive and it's kind of changed the color that it is, and it's no longer what it was before, rather than it just fade and fade and fade and fade. That fading is the light fastness. It's the changing of the properties of it that's the fugitive. Let's see, Liza, you really like this one. Patty, I usually use Da Vinci or Daniel Smith art kit palettes and a mixture of M. Graham, Familiar, and Da Vinci at home. Holy cow. You have a lot of paint. Welcome to the club. You're gonna fit right in if you've got all those different brands of paint, because we seem to talk paint and pigment every night that we do this. So you're gonna fit right in. Kim Crick has a website up in a pigment database. You can look up the pigments she tests. So also, oh God, what is it? Handprint? I think it's Handprint. Let me see if I can call it up real quick. If you go to a website called Handprint, the guy had this huge database. I'm glad this has come up in chat. See, I'm learning. I'm going to do one thing here. Let me see if I can, I swear it's Handprint. this is hardly great. Yeah, here it is. Let's see if I can do this. Copy. Here's the site that I go to. It's got a whole bunch. Ooh, is it going to let me? Oh, there you go. That's got a whole bunch of information on it about watercolors and paints and papers and brushes. And if you're looking for a good primer on a lot of things, that's a great place to go. And it'll tell you so much of what you need to know. I also used to make watercolor paint. Oh, Patty, I want to talk with you because I want to make my own paints. I'm going to sign this in the meantime. Oh, it's still wet. It's a little hard to sign. Michael has tons of tubes. I do. I think maybe in May, June sometime we'll do a paper test. We'll do a paint test. I'll get all my paints, and we won't do anything. We'll just sit here and play with different paints, and we'll go through them all sometime later in the summer. That'll be a fun thing to do. Let's see. So, as I like to do, right, I want to go through some of the highs and lows of this painting. As we're coming to the end, I've given it a quick sign here. Some of the things I like about this painting. I love this busy area down here. I didn't have a specific plan on how I wanted to do this, right? But if you look in your garden, or you look in somebody else's garden, and you see daffodils, right? Even that one over there, they all catch a little bit of light, or they're bent, or they're twisted a little bit, and they just catch that different light, and they all have lights and darks that go through there. I think this looks great. I think it's very effective, and it's an interesting way to represent something that really is a bunch of straight lines, or mostly straight lines that go out there. We've taken something that could be just a lot of green lines up and down and put in a ton of interest to it, right? I like the little bit of, it's in essence, it's grayed it down a little bit. That purple or that neutral tint that has gone into here, that little bit, and it didn't take much, and all of a sudden now there's some real depth in these, right? Now it's not just a flat piece of paper. This comes out, or it goes back in. I really like that. And I really like this cup here. I like this part, the opening of this one. I kind of like this. This one maybe got a little away from me, a little bit, but not too bad. Still like it. But the shape of this, the shading back here, I missed the opportunity to make it look like that. That's okay. I'm not trying to do a photocopy of anything. This is now my version of it. But I love the way there's gotten dark along the edge over here, and all three of them back in here where it's going to be a bit more shadow. It's a little darker. It's a little more intense back there, right? And then I let the color get away from me a little bit. Like I said, yellow's a hard color. A couple of these, I like this first one I did, right? Maybe I could have put a little bit more color down here at the base of this. But I like this one, this petal, I don't know, maybe this petal. A couple of these I really, really enjoy. A couple of them are just not exactly what I wanted. Not enough difference between the orange and the yellow that's in them. Maybe a little too bright in some areas, but that's okay. That's okay. When you take it in total, I'll bet you, if I stood back from this 5 feet or 6 feet, probably it's going to be okay. And I'll bet you, if I were to put this in a frame, if I were to put this in a different frame, look, all of a sudden, it looks fantastic. Right? Maybe not a green frame, but, a different color frame. I think it would look fantastic. So I like that. Set this off to the side for a second. And I don't have a whole lot of, I don't have much negative to say. This, I don't know what you call this, the cup. I think is really the only thing that bothers me on the whole thing, and I can live with it because my eye doesn't say this is out of normal. I just, when I look at it, I go, I wish I'd have done something a little different with it. But it's okay. Let's see what everybody is saying. Painting's beautiful. Thank you. So, Sudike, Sudike, you're going to do your daffodil. Okay, cool. That's fantastic. I hope you, I hope you put it up on the Discord server so we can all see it. I think that's kind of a fun thing to do. And like I said, Susie's put one up there. Natalie's put one up there. A couple of people have got them up there. There's, we're starting to talk about it a little bit. I'm willing to do a critique. That'll be nice. I try to say nice things. Most of everything that's up there looks fantastic anyways. Let me get that out of the way. And like Susie says, Sudike, if you enjoy painting, do it so you enjoy the painting. That's what's more important than anything. Liza, you want a studio tour? Is that what I saw in here somewhere? Anyway, Michael, in total, it's very lovely. Thank you. Susie said, great job. Next challenge. Today's the 24th. So I've got a couple of days to figure out what the next challenge is. I'm trying to think of something that's quintessentially May. I don't know if I'm going to go with that or not. Let's see, May. See, when I think May, my brother was born in May. He's a Taurus, so I always think bulls, but I don't know if I want to paint a bull. I don't know. I'll figure it out. We'll put it up there. And let's have some fun with it, whatever it's going to be. Until then, though, thank you all for joining me. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see who is still here. Liza, Sudike, Susie, Tracy are still here, I know. Natalie, probably. Patty, whoever is still here. If I didn't get you, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. For OZC still here, thank you so much for helping to make my Wednesday evening enjoyable. I very much enjoy painting with you all each week. Thank you for joining me. Until then, hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you back here next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.